Hello dear students, welcome to session 3 of mobile application testing. How's everyone today? Can you hear me, guys? All right. Well, everything looks good with you. It's probably the first group that is so organized, and I'm really happy to see the tables and the tests being done. How's Lamotive? How do you like it, guys? So far, fun. It is fun, you know. We're gonna have a few fun projects. For now, you can just, play around with your media, whatever you have on your phones. A little bit later, I will ask you to download a special media from the Lamotive that came from Lamotive, and you're gonna select files and test it. And also we're gonna start testing the test metrics that is supplied for Lamotive. What's fun is we have structured project, which is Lamotive, and we have a couple of unstructured projects and some hands-on activities that I will ask you to do, but I will teach you how to test the applications and to apply the logic, because mobile applications industry have its own standards. So, and so far, let me just for a second go to your table and see. We have about so far 48 and 58. Oh my God, it's 106 students doing Lamotive. Guys, it is a unbelievable number, of real devices, so that's why, in mobile application testing industry, real devices are everything, and the person behind this real device who cares, it is everything. So that's why I mostly rely on my online students when I give Lamotive. So thank you so much for being, for us and Lamotive, and these guys really appreciate everything. So this company is located in Singapore. It's, believe it or not, a company of 7 people, 7 engineers who are working on site in there. They have a subscription of more than 5.5 million people. And also, application is very buggy, and you will see it during the process of testing. People love it. Okay, so the next is gonna be for Lamotive. We're gonna have few tests. Okay, I do not appreciate you guys putting MSQRD. Why? Because you did not follow instructions. I did not ask you to do MSQRD because it's a special instructions. So don't run in front of a train, okay, with this one. People who did MSQRD, I appreciate it, but unfortunately at this time, we just have to do this. Why? Because you didn't follow instructions, because you didn't know what the instructions were. Okay, so anyway, next tests are gonna be battery consumption. Why battery consumption is one of the first tests? Because if your application is consuming too much power and the battery, you're not gonna be successful. So it's gonna be instructions for the battery consumption, okay? Also, interruption tests are big in the mobile application testing industry, because your mobile devices are always about interruptions. So in here, there are instructions what you would do, and please follow them. Check every single test case and put your results. Also, it's going to be alarm clock, part of the interruption test, charger in and out. Also, believe it or not, a simple thing as opening and closing the application just from the icon is the big stress test. So we're going to be doing it next time by session 4. Got it? And now we are back with our lecture. Let me just clean up a little bit. Oh, look, iOS guys put some MSQRD, but Android guys, you didn't. So I can see that Android people are more obeying. Also, it's open source operating system. All right, guys. So last time we were going through the networking and what do we have, what kind of networks we are using for mobile devices. And our next network is Wi-Fi, and we call it hotspots. You can love it and or hate it, but before we absolutely loved it because hotspots were always free, right? So, but what is a hotspot? All right, hotspot is a physical location where people may obtain internet access, typically using Wi-Fi technology via wireless local area network using a router connected to an internet service provider. Public hotspots might be found in a number of businesses for use of customers in many developed urban areas throughout the world, such for example as a coffee shop. Many hotels offer Wi-Fi access to guests, or, we were on the fairgrounds, even the fairgrounds were offering the free Wi-Fi. So it was kind of pretty cool right now that the Wi-Fi is not a big deal. The shopping malls are offering the Wi-Fi. Just wherever you go, it is a Wi-Fi is available to you. However, and I'm always telling my students, the security is always a serious concern in connection with the hotspots. So there are three possible attack vectors. First, there is a wireless connection between the client and the access point. This needs to be encrypted so the connection cannot be eavesdropped or attacked by a man-in-the-middle attack. So what is man-in-the-middle attack? We will be going through the security tests, and man-in-the-middle attack is one of the OWASP, which is Open Web Application Security Project, top 10 regulations. So as we go through our lectures, you will know what it is. Second security concern is there's a hotspot itself. So the WLAN connection ends at the interface, then travels its network stack unencrypted, and then travels over the wired connection up back to the device. Third, there is a connection from the access point. So as you can see, and I always tell my students, please, if you absolutely have to use Wi-Fi, do not do banking, okay? This is the most, biggest fall people can make, to use it, do hotspots, public hotspots, to do banking, like a money transfer or checking the account. Please do not do it. If you have to do it, just get outside or disconnect the public hotspot and use your service provider. Next one is the Bluetooth, and the Bluetooth first appeared as a consumer technology in 2000, and it was very, very cool. We were all happy to have it. However, there was a problem, okay? The problem was with the quality, okay? So what is the Bluetooth? It's a wireless communication protocol for connecting devices through the air. It is slower than Wi-Fi, but it's often simpler to set up, and it's usually preferred for device-to-device transfers. Just a little bit of a history of the Bluetooth. It was first conceived in 1994, and the original purpose of Bluetooth was simply transferring data without wires. So I can give you a little bit more history that you can amaze your friends at the next, get-together by telling them it's named after Danish king who united Denmark and Norway at the end of its first millennium. So and my students always ask me, Natalia, what is the difference between the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi? And some people get really confused. So Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are both used to transfer data wirelessly, but they're actually very different. That said, the two technologies are now battling it out to be the dominant standard for the growing number of IoT, which is Internet of Things, and smart home devices appearing on the market. Bluetooth works best for device-to-device connections and creating an ad hoc networks anywhere called Piconets. Wi-Fi, meanwhile, is better suited for creating wider networks based around one central source, usually the router box installed, like for example, in your house. So I found a very, very fun fact about Bluetooth. So if you can take a look at this symbol of it, so the Bluetooth symbol is a bind rune, actually, which means that it is formed from two runes that are merged together. Runes are the ancient Norse letters that, according to mythology, Odin discovered and gave to gods and humans. Well, if you guys are aware that the runes have been used for 1,000 years and probably even longer. So this is a fun fact about the Bluetooth and its symbol. Then we have the broadband, and the mobile broadband is a marketing term for wireless internet access through a top portable modem, mobile phone, USB wireless modem, tablet, or other mobile devices. So provides high-speed internet access for your data-only devices through a wireless network. I don't know, guys probably who do not live in the US, have you ever found yourself exceeding your data allowance on your smartphone or tablet? Perhaps you thought everything was okay, but didn't realize that you have exceeded the amount of data you were allowed under your contract until the bill arrived. The fact is, mobile internet is very rarely unlimited. Even if you have, for example, like a 50 gig allowance, once you finally manage to exceed this, perhaps you're using your smartphone as a wireless hotspot, you will be charged for any data beyond this limit. Out of my experience, I kind of, because I live alone right now, I disconnected all the internet at home, and when I need to use my TV or my laptops, I usually use my T-Mobile phone as the hotspot, mobile hotspot. Never in my, 3-4 months that I have this phone, I exceeded any data limitation. So just think of it, maybe it is worth to switch to like an unlimited plan, on your phones if you have this option, okay? And then use it as a hotspot. And well, I saved $140 a month, just disconnecting all these phones and internet and just everything that I was paying for to AT&T. So that was pretty cool. So, okay. Cellular modem. 3 main types of cellular modems. There are cell phones itself. We are using phones as modems to enable internet access on computers or some other devices. We call it tethering. We're going to be talking about that. We're using cellular cards. It's a portable network adapters. We plug it into the computers, and also known as air cards. And we also have the cellular routers, which are the portable network routers that contain the built-in cellular modems. They are all in here. It's pretty probably familiar to you. Evolutions. Oh, we're gonna have some fun with this one. And who recognizes what? It's probably the 2G technology, the Nokia, the Russian guys. You remember the Nokia? Nokia about 1100, 3300. Alexei, 3300. What was your first cell phone, guys? 5200. What else? Okay. What else do we have? Okay. Nice. All right. So we started, so you guys are young. Okay, in 1992, some of you were probably young. Okay, you were born around that that era. So Alcatel, yes, Alcatel 3310. Well, let's go over the fun facts, so you can, learn something. So let me talk about the Nokia 1100. Nokia 1100 was the best-selling electrical gadget in history with more than 250 million pieces sold. Can you imagine 250 million pieces sold? And at that time, when money was something, that Nokia phone cost some money, right? So, and the salaries were different. Okay. What do you think around this time in 1981 and a little bit, after that, how much do you think the cellular phone cost? And I'll tell you my story. 5K, close, Konstantin. Very close. Well, the cost was about $4,000. And it was the cost of the first mobile phone in US. Let me tell you, this thing I kind of encountered in the early 90s. It was still around because the Nokia was not that, popular or accessible. But I had a friend who was an executive at that time, and he was carrying this kind of phone in his car. And, you put this phone on your shoulder, you need to go to the chiropractor, because it was this heavy. And then it, the charger was a big, heavy box, and an overnight charge would take just 30 minutes of talking. Okay, just 30 minutes. And can you imagine right now the phone's 30 minutes? We're just going to throw it away. We're always complaining about the Android devices. So let's talk about the Apple, the phones. And in 2012, Apple sold more than 340,000 iPhones per day, which is around 4 per second. So, big one. The first mobile call was made by Martin Cooper in 1973. Okay? And do you know, guys, that the present mobile phones have more computing power than the computers used for Apollo 11 to land on the moon? So, what do you think the most expensive one in the world? How much the most expensive phone cost? What? Give me your bets. 100K? 300,000? 2 million? 1 million? All right. Go ahead. Oh, 1 million. Made of gold. 5 million. All right, guys. Couple more entries. iPhone plus diamonds, Virtu. All right, iPhone 5 Black Diamond is the costliest phone in the world, which costs 15 million. It will take 9 weeks to build, made of 135 gram solid gold of 24 karat, and the 600 white diamonds. So if you think of ordering it, it'll take 9 weeks, so you can just, collect some money and order it. Okay, save it, make yourself a gift. All right, now let's talk about the evolutions of the cell phones. So basically, 1G, the analog signal used by cellular towers. 2G, and you have to understand, before the second generation technology came into the market, there was no such a term, 1G. So, but you can see also that in the last few decades, mobile wireless communication networks have experienced a remarkable change. So each generation have some standards, different capacities, new techniques, new features, which differentiate it from the previous ones. So again, if you can look at the 1G, it was an analog used for voice calls only, okay? And the second generation is a digital technology that supported text messaging. The third generation 3D mobile technology provided a higher data transmission rate, increased capacity, and provide multimedia support. Then we go to the most advanced, like the fourth generation, 4G, integrates 3G with fixed internet to support wireless mobile internet, which is an evolution to mobile technology, and it overcomes the limitations of 3G. So it also increases the bandwidth and reduces the cost of resources. We have the LTE technology that we're going to be talking a little bit later, but you have to understand that in 2011, basically 90% of the world population lived in the area with 2G coverage, so not much, right? And by 2017, right now, it's more than 90% of the world population is expected to have 2G coverage, 85% is expected to have 3G coverage, and 50% will have 4G coverage. So 4G coverage is, you guys have to understand that the 4G coverage becoming a standard in most parts of the world. So let's talk about the 5G. So what is 5G to you? And, these two companies, the Huawei, first Samsung and then followed by Huawei, they told us that by 2020 they're going to provide the 5G technology, and, we're all waiting. But what is it? What is 5G technology? What is it for you guys? Give me some examples of what 5G means to you. So we're on 4G LTE right now, and very fast internet, next generation. Okay, well, we can just talk generally about it, but give me some ideas. What would you be able to do with this kind of internet connection? Yes, it's all about the data transferring, okay, and the speed it transfers. Download the movie for 5 seconds. The huge movie could be downloaded in a fraction of a second. VR, all right, we can try that, okay. It is a virtual reality, definitely, So what else, guys? Just interesting what you think, and I can give you some examples. You'll be able to watch movies in Moscow Underground. Oh my God, David, your desires are too simple. You should be able to watch movies in Moscow Underground. Okay, you guys are funny. So while you continue writing it, and I will give you just an idea what it is about 5G, and because I'm going to give you an examples, then you will be, teleporting, Elena, you're funny. So almost, well, right now I'm going to be giving you examples, and, some of them you can just consider as a teleporting. So applications of 5G are beyond our imagination right now. This is what I think. So I don't think user ever experienced before such a high value technology, which will include all types of advanced features. So some of the applications of 5G, as reported by the companies, Huawei and Samsung, and there are some other companies right now who are trying to build the 5G technology. They're giving examples of the application. So we can be able to charge our mobile using our own heartbeat. How about that, okay? Or we would be able to feel our grandmother's sugar level with our mobile. To know exact time of our childbirth in nanoseconds. Our mobile rings according to our mood. We can vote from our mobile. I personally, didn't get this one because, as a citizen of the United States, you have to either appear to vote, and I don't know how this particular entry is about 5G. So we can visualize lovely all the planets and universe, able to navigate a train for which we're waiting, able to view our residence in our mobile when someone enters, and also when someone opens our intelligent car. Pay all our bills in a single payment, which is, very interesting. We would be able to sense the tsunami or earthquake before it occurs. Well, I think somebody is going to lose the job, because it's the whole association working for the air. So what is this? We can identify our stolen mobile without nanoseconds, and the most exciting part is that we would be able to fold our mobile as per our desire. This is what they promise. Yeah, Dima, you're probably right. Junk mostly, not significant. But for people who are, waiting for this technology, is very exciting. And if the 5G appears, it could be beneficial in all aspects, right? Healthcare, for example. Maybe they'll find cure for cancer, so we would be able to diagnose the cancer cells before they appear on the devices, mammograms and everything. So I think, I'm optimistic thinking about more like these things to benefit the humanity other than, playing the games or downloading the movie. So that's about 5G. If you have any, kind of your thinking or your input, you can just give it to me so I can just pass on to our students. Yeah, the idea is definitely great, like most ideas, Sanya, but we'll see. We're almost at 2018, so maybe a couple of years we'll start seeing. I can only imagine how much it's gonna cost. So, have you ever thought about the manufacturers? We have to know that right now, and this is, if you can see, it's 2014. I need to change this slide. I apologize for that. I definitely will do it soon. So, but even in 2014, at the Q4, Samsung was leading. The Samsung devices were leading. The Android were leading. Why? Because there's so many Android devices in there. So by today, it's about 90% of the market are taken by the Samsung and followed by Apple. Lenovo is getting big. I can see it's very, very stable systems, guys. If you ever need laptops or anything, it's bulletproof. I can tell you, Lenovo is great. So, what are manufacturers are responsible for, what they're doing, and what we can benefit from that. So cell phones are used every day, but few realize all the planning, effort, and work that tucked into that neat little package. So let's talk about first the components. How the components being, chosen. So before reaching the design phase, phone manufacturers need to decide which technologies they want to include in a cell phone. While components such as a screen buttons, a battery, and memory are all essential, it's up to the manufacturer to decide which components are the most important. Then they have to think about the design. Once a components or selling features of that phone are decided, a team of designers and engineers will mock up what that phone should look like. Then we have the software, and when it comes to the smartphones, there are two main operating systems. We call it OSs, and one is locked to one manufacturer. So if you're entering the smartphone business, there's only one real option when it comes to software. The iPhones uses the iOS software exclusively, and the Android, the OS, it includes BlackBerry OS, and which is exclusively designed to BlackBerry phones. Windows Mobile OS, which deals primarily with Nokia, and Google OS, it's pretty much for all other Androids, which is very popular. So, and then manufacturing, after deciding what's going to be under the hood of that phone, and their decisions on how it's going to be made are chosen, it is time to actually build the phone. The parts are sourced from their respective manufacturers. Also, parts are sometimes built by the same manufacturer and then shipped to a central manufacturing facility where these phones are put together. So these manufacturing facilities, often constructed overseas to reduce cost, we call it outsourcing, are tasked with putting these phones together quickly and efficiently. Once constructed, the phones are then tested, packaged, and shipped to distribution centers around the world. So here's my question to you. What tests do you think are being performed for this part of the phone development? Give me your ideas. What tests? Stress tests. What kind of stress tests, guys? For example, stress test is a drop test. Yes, absolutely, Jameer. Battery drain. No, not at this time. Yes, waterproof. Okay, what else? Artur is right, waterproof. Jeremiah, battery drain, not quite right now, like I said. Dust, yes, dust test, scratching, temperature. Alexei, you're absolutely, who is that? Oleg. Oleg, you're absolutely right. Temperature, okay? Temperature is very, very big concern because these phones are used in Antarctica, right? Or in a desert, so it should kind of handle these extreme temperatures. Also, during the winter, I had the class, and I asked people, it's winter, it's cold outside, so what kind of problems you are experiencing with your cell phones? And I can tell you about maybe 10% of Android and 20% of the Apple devices. They were saying when the temperature hits minus 16 Celsius, okay, the phone's shutting off. Who is having this problem? Guys from Russia or from the countries that are Ukraine or Belarus or whatever, countries that do have the pretty cold winters. So Anastasia, Alexei, at what temperature your phones are shutting down, and what phones you have? Well, OnePlus 3T is okay. Thank you, Timur, because I might go to cold country with my phone, minus 20, 15. Just put the Android or iPhone, guys, because it's gonna be easier for me to identify. So minus 15 minus 20, iPhone 5. Okay, minus 20 iPhone, just shutting off, huh? Yes. All right. Thank you, guys. It's kind of a very interesting statistic, you know, because here in California we have a pretty stable, you know, comparably, you know, pretty stable temperature. Also, we had some heat waves, but it didn't really affect. But the cold is just hard for us to measure here in California unless you go to the Reno, Tahoe. But even there, you know, I do not see too many people that are having these problems. So let's just move to the devices, and we are getting really close to the actual testing itself, because the devices that we have right now, there are so many of them. So mobile devices is a small computing devices, typically small enough to be handheld. That's why everything which is fits into your hand calls the handheld devices. So they have a display screen with miniature keyboard, either alphabetic or numeric, and in some models in, you know, a touch screen, which enables the user to use a virtual keyboard that is displayed on a screen along with other icons and buttons that could be pressed. Well, pressed is not really the right term for the mobile devices. In mobile devices we do what? We are tapping, right? We are not pressing anything, we are tapping, we are pointing, we are swiping, right? So if you prepare yourself to work in the mobile industry, please use the word tap, okay? So if you can see the number of devices, they're humongous, okay? Mobile devices have been designed for many applications that include like for example, mobile computers and mobile internet devices, table computers, wearable computers such as calculator watches, smart watches, head-mounted displays. Also, we have the PDAs, which is a personal digital assistants. We have enterprise digital assistants. We have calculators. We have handheld game consoles, portable media players, ultra-mobile PCs, digital media players, digital still cameras, and you know, of course, it's the smartphones and the feature phones and pagers. You know, we used to have it, but some people still use it. Also, we have the PNDs, which is a personal navigation devices. We have smart cards. They are all mobile. So what is it that I'm trying to tell you guys? You know, if you're entering the mobile application testing industry, you will be forced to test some, 80 or all of these devices if your application is supporting that. So it is essential for you to know how to test. And you know, in my introduction, I was telling you how to test, like for example, the pacemaker, right? How to test the Fitbit, and you know, every device you perform testing according to its needs. So lots and lots of things to learn. So, but more, we have to know what are we looking for. So it is a principles of mobile computing, okay? And what is a mobile computing? It's basically human-computer interaction by which a computer is expected to be transported during normal usage, which allows for transmission of data, voice, and video. So what are we basically looking? We are looking for portability. Devices and nodes connected within the mobile computing system should facilitate the mobility. These devices may have limited device capabilities and limited power supply, but should have an efficient processing capacity and physical portability to operate in mobile environment. Connectivity. This defines the quality of service, and also known as a QoS, it's a quality of service, of the network connectivity. And in a mobile computing system, the network availability is expected to be maintained at a high level with the minimal amount of lag or downtime without being affected by the mobility of the connected nodes. Then we're looking for the interactivity, and the nodes belonging to a mobile computing system are connected with one another to communicate and collaborate through active transactions of data. Individuality, I'm sorry guys, sometimes after I talk too much, and I had a morning class and my tongue sometimes doesn't work. So a portable device or a mobile node connected to a mobile network often denote as an individual. A mobile computing system should be able to adapt the technology to cater the individual needs and also to obtain contextual information of each mode. So security, guys, it's always a big concern about this, and while we are going through the lecture, we will definitely cover that. So believe it or not, many times phones users, they don't know the basic difference between the smartphone and a feature phone. But now, we are going to define each of them, and you will not be kind of confused anymore. So feature phones and smartphones, let's just talk a little bit about that. As I told you, the smartphone term came into its origin in 1973. Smartphones are telephony and advanced computing machines which run on the mobile operating system. And mobile OS gives you an advanced application programming interfaces, which we call APIs, and we're going to be talking more about that, for running a third-party applications, which allows these applications to have a better integration with phones, OS, and hardware than is typical with the feature phones. So, feature phones are features. What are they and how we are defining? So these phones are low price phones which provides basic functionality like calling, internet access, camera, music player, etc. But they do not have highly integrated apps. They're not multitasking. So what is funny these days, that the feature phones, the smartphones that we had, like for example 3 years ago, the capability of these phones are basically right now like a feature phones. So the line is very thin. I can tell you that these feature phones, they can support up to 4G internet connections. Okay, it can have GPS. It can have a normal camera, maybe not HD, video that you can record, but the normal video with a normal resolution. So it's very interesting that how the line is thin between the feature phones and the smartphones. So disadvantages of the smartphones. So it's mostly the security. Malware attacks are targeted on smartphone users. On Android devices, its battery gets exhausted and pretty fast. Also, they're working on it. And disadvantage of the feature phones, like most other feature phones required these days, are not present. Like, for example, application integration or low screen size or resolution. So, but it is up to us, You know, it's up to our kind of capabilities and our desires and what do we want to use. Like, for example, my mother, she's, you know, she's not too, you know, she's getting old, but she needs a phone, so I got her a feature phone. And, you know, I don't have to pay much for it, and she's not, well, she tries to text, but it's not really successful, you know, but she can call, you know, she can just do basic functions, and it looks good in her hand. So that's it, you know, it's up to us and how much we want to spend on it. Now let's get to the serious things, guys. We're gonna be talking about the iOS Apple devices. We're gonna be talking about the jailbreaking, rooting, the you know, all this unlocking the phones, what it is, what devices it applies to. And you probably heard that people talk. How many, you know, guys? How many we have Apple devices in here? So this is pretty much, you know, for you, if you are interested. You probably heard about this term jailbreaking, but don't really know what it means or how the whole thing works. So I'm going to take a closer look on ways to jailbreak a phone, or how you can do it, and because it's not illegal. So basically, let's start that when you are buying a phone or any other device, such as, and we're talking about Apple devices, you get a device that comes with limited capabilities, which are dictated by Apple. We might look, you know, we might like our Apple devices, but we hate these limitations. In US it is legal, yeah, it is legal. It should be legal everywhere. So Alexei, so I don't think it's illegal in other countries, because Apple is the one who are putting the rules, and Apple kind of, well, they are not happy, but we can do it, okay? So basically, when these limited capabilities come with Apple phones, they have this includes using specific mobile operators. We can only download Apple approved apps, using Apple approved device features, and so on and so on. So this means that any apps, games, or other things that are not included in a standard iPhone feature set will not be available to you unless you jailbreak the phone. So what is jailbreaking itself? What is the term? So jailbreaking is the process of modifying iPhone software to unlock various hidden features and allow you to run custom code. Jailbreaking an iPhone is not illegal. Also, Apple will void your warranty if you turn into the jailbroken iPhone for repairs. So make sure that if you jailbreak your iPhone, you don't need your warranty any longer. But you can always reset the system to the factory, you know, and bring it to the Apple Store. So let me give you an idea how to jailbreak an iPhone if you need to. Now, the actual process of jailbreaking an iPhone is usually quite simple, as long as you know what tools to use and follow on instructions carefully. So I just want to ask you guys, anybody is having the jailbreak phone, the Apple phone in here? Alexei, all right. You used to have on 3Gs, okay. So we have a couple of people in here, right, that know exactly what I am talking about. Were you doing it yourself, guys? Did you jailbreak it yourself? Okay, we have some genius people in here, which is very, very exciting. All right. So, but I want you to remember that the jailbreaking an iPhone is in many cases simpler than unlocking, which makes the phone usable with any SIM card out there. And most software that is created to jailbreak iPhones will not be able to unlock them as well. So, what is the most important thing to consider when looking to jailbreak your phone is basically its model. Like some models, such as the iPhone 5, are significantly harder to jailbreak than older versions, such as the iPhone 4 or iPhone 3GS. What phones you guys had for jailbreaking? I'm just curious. Oh, okay, iPhone 3, okay, all right. iPhone 3GS, iPhone 4, okay, anything above iPhone 4, anything above, because it's getting harder and harder to jailbreak, yeah, because I hardly see any people, talking about the jailbreaking the latest models. It's just kind of complicated. All right. So if you decide to do it, there are a few crucial things that everyone should do before jailbreaking iOS device. First and most, do not forget to back up the whole thing on iTunes. There is always a small chance that your setting will be lost during the process, so I highly recommend you to make copies of everything, like for example your contacts, your photos, apps, and so on. In this way you don't have to worry how to recover deleted pictures from iPhone if you encounter problems like that. So, and if you ever decide to take your phone for repairs, do not forget to reset it to the factory settings. So, and this could be done by connecting to iTunes and setting up as a new device. So, what I wanted to tell you that, believe it or not, that once the operating system is released to the public, there is a jailbreak available, okay? So within 24 hours, like for example, the company like a Pangu, they're gonna release the jailbreaking tool. So it's very interesting. Then we are going to talk about the unlocking, okay? And many people assume that the jailbreaking an iPhone is exactly the same as unlocking it. This is not true. And let me describe the difference because it's pretty substantial. So an unlocked iPhone can be used with any carrier, not just those that have been approved by Apple. This means that you can use an unlocked iPhone with, for example, T-Mobile or any operator abroad without any issues. Many people unlock their phones when moving or traveling overseas because international roaming rates are very high, and a properly unlocked iPhone can be used with any local SIM card. The process of unlocking an iPhone in many cases is much more complicated than jailbreaking, and I'm gonna give you the best ways to get your phone unlocked if you ever decided to do that. So if your contract has already expired, your carrier will unlock your iPhone if you ask. Give them a call or have your IMEI number ready. This IMEI number you can find in your settings or connecting your device to the iTunes. Also, there are special SIM unlocks that work with many iPhone models, and you can order the SIMs online. Just make sure that you buy it from the reputable provider. Factory IMEI unlocks is a popular solution that works with all iPhone models. So factory IMEI. So this is about the unlocking the phone. I know lots of people kind of use this term unlocked phone for Android. In the industry, we use unlocking term just for the iPhones. So this is about it. If you have any questions about unlocking the phone or jailbreaking, please do not hesitate to ask me. We will be talking about that. Next one is rooting. Okay, rooting applies to Android devices. Okay. We all love Android, but rooting your phone can give you the opportunity to do so much more than your phone can already do. So whatever is wireless tethering, speeding it up with overclocking, or customizing the look of your phone with these themes. And here what you basically need to know about the rooting process. But before we start talking about that, what is rooting exactly, I want to describe. So rooting, for those of you that don't know, means giving yourself root permissions on your phone. And it is very similar running programs as administrators in Windows, or running a command. Some of you probably know Linux commands. Super user do, yeah, exactly, Daniel. Yes, running command sudo in Linux. You're gonna help me with the Android Studio, Daniel. You know, it looks like you know Linux, so we'll need your help. What do you think? So with a rooted phone, you can run apps that require access to certain system settings, as well as a flash custom ROMs to your phone, which all add all sorts of extra features. So basically, there are tons of different Androids out there, and while some rooting methods might work for multiple phones, there is no one-size-fits-all guide for rooting every phone out there. So, as we go through our lectures, you would have to know a few things. What they mean before you start, and I will help you to do that. So basically, there's an Android glossary, and let me explain to you. We have 3 more minutes to cover that. So these are the professional terms that you'll have to know. So what is root? Rooting means you have a root access to your device. You can root either by installing the super user application or by flashing a custom ROM that includes root access. Then we have a ROM. ROM is a modified version of Android. It may contain extra features, a different look, speed enhancement, or even a version of Android that hasn't been released for your phone yet. And here, comes the cyanogen mode and linear that become, the cyanogen mode became linear as of this January 2017. We're going to be talking about that. Then we have one of the biggest terms that we are using in here. It's a kernel. Kernel is the component of your operating system that manages communication between your software and hardware. Radios are part of your phone firmware. Your radio controls your cellular data, GPS, Wi-Fi, and other things like that. Then we have flash. Flashing in our industry means installing something on your device, whether it be ROM or kernel or recovery that comes in a form of zip file. Then we have the bootloaders, and the bootloader is the lowest level of software on your phone. running all its code that is necessary to start your operating system. For those familiar with the Windows, it's like a BIOS. Okay? Oops, sorry guys. Then we have the recovery, and recovery is the software on your phone that lets you make backups. Then we have the non-Droid. Non-Droid is usually from the third-party recovery modules. You can make backups of your phone, and we call it non-Droid backups. The biggest thing of Android is a ADB, and from now on you would know what it is. ADB stands for Android Debugging Bridge. It is a command line tool for your computer that can communicate with an Android device you've connected to. And breaking means when you break something on your phone, it becoming a brick. Thank you so much for being with me. I will see you on Thursday. Your homework is going to be posted tomorrow. Good night, everyone.